Hey there, this is Ragnon, and this is my video walkthrough on Tindral Sage Swift, Mythic, specifically from a Holy Priest POV, but most of this should apply, at least positioning and stuff, for any ranged healer. So first of all, I like to start here to the side, not too far back because then you're not in range to get your dots off and stuff, but right here at the beginning, getting dots, applying power infusion. And then a couple notes. This fight I do run Seedling, and I recommend that you do as well because there's just a lot of windows where you need a cooldown, and Seedling adds an extra cooldown above, just Salve and him. So it's nice to have that extra cooldown. Just make sure I'm recording real quick. Yep. So here I try to get a couple casts off. I usually have time for about 2 smites, and then as soon as the damage comes out, then I do a Sanctify, and then usually spam like 1 or 2 Prayer of Healings right here, and I'm looking immediately for where the circles are, and I'm trying to position quickly in between, because as soon as I get in position so that I don't have to move, I'm going to cast Halo. So right there, casting Halo, and then immediately getting into position. It's really important as a ranged healer to make sure that you are on the far right side here for this first bait. So here we have 2 priests as our ranged healers, so we're positioned here to the back right, not too far away from the boss, but far enough to where people don't actually have to move the boss and stuff if the fire expands. As far as the dispels go, sorry, I'm going to be pausing a lot. There's a lot to talk about in this fight. The dispels, I'm going to go back a couple seconds here. So as soon as the first circle comes out, we dispel immediately. It was not my dispel. Our other priest, Gala, was assigned to number 1, and I was assigned to number 2. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm stacked on her, and I'm looking to move as soon as it possible, because I don't want to take more than 1 tick of the fire. So here it gets dispelled, running out. It's okay to run in these circles because they will be positioned back here, so you don't have to worry about those. What you do have to worry about is the tornadoes, the fire beams that are coming, and then also the swirlies. So I'm looking to dispel as soon as I possibly can. So you see right here, I dispel as soon as it turns green. And then with the roots, something that I struggled with was finding the balance between being too far out and not actually having my roots being broken, and being too far in and just dying. So what I ended up doing is I would just use my defensives for the stacks. I just started using Desperate Prayer and alternating between that and Guardian Spirit every time there's a root, just because I kept dying. So right here, I'm running in and stacking somewhat close. Desperate Prayer myself. And here I precast my Seedling. And as soon as the damage for the roots come out, I'm spamming a full single target on this. I'm looking to dump all my Serenities, all of my Flash Heal procs, my Circle of Heal, everything I possibly can. And then usually with that, I like to use my Goblin Jump there because I don't really need it for another time, and it helps me get a head start on the movement. As soon as you're broken out of your root, you can keep moving. It's the tank that needs to keep the boss there, so you can get a head start and start getting some Prayer of Healing casts and stuff off. This is also the moment when I like to use my Shadow Fiend. It's a good moment for it. I've spent a bunch of mana, and it's early in the fight, so I can get it up later. There's a lot of movement, so you're getting some healing out of it. I believe there are some priests that use a cooldown here. My cooldowns were a little weird on this, which is probably why my parse was not phenomenal. It was a blue, like mid-blue parse, but I'm just glad we killed it. We placed my cooldowns where we needed it, not necessarily where it might be the best. So I'm going to explain where I used my cooldowns, but if yours are positioned differently, then that's great. So right here, moving, this is where we have freedoms assigned by Paladin, so I knew I didn't have to get in close there, I just have to get close enough so that my ad can be gripped up with slappy hands. A-bomb limb from the blood tank. And then, so right here, there's a lot of damage. This is a pretty dangerous moment, but I don't use my Guardian Spirit here. Instead, I just fade. So fade is enough for this. I'm looking to hit the group with as many AoE heals as I can, sanctifies and stuff, circle of healings, and then right here there's a second follow-up damage. This is a really dangerous part. This is actually a really great place to salve If we didn't have our disc priest ramping here. This was her ramp, so I didn't want to step on that. So these two packets of damage right next to each other are pretty huge. So a lot of healing here. As soon as this falling star happens, people are pretty dangerous. It's easy to get hit by swirly. While you're healing, you do want to get in position because it's very quick. So while you're healing and stuff, if you're not already pre-moving and stuff and using your instant casts to stutter step, you're not going to make it here on time. So getting this dispel, moving out, and I like to take a slightly longer path around just to be safe. Here, this moment, I kept dying with these roots, so this is where I used my Guardian Spirit, and I am looking to use whatever I can, Halo, and if I had any Sanctify charges and stuff, I'd use it here. I'm noticing I did not cast my Shadow Fiend. I was kind of inconsistent about that, but I would recommend that you do it on that first move that I talked about. Right here, I liked moving early, so you can see my movement here. After we take the gate, I am doing some heals and stuff like that. Not very many. Anytime I tried to greed and stand and cast for too long, I got trapped and stuff. So I recommend being, just really safe with your movement, moving early, and just, running through forward. Here, after the nerf or change or whatever, there's a weird thing where you can use your whatever your 3-point roll for it. I don't remember the name of the spell, but as soon as you get on your dragon, if you fly up and then you use that dash forward, surge forward or whatever, you get it for free. It doesn't cost any vigor, so make sure you do that. So right here, guildies are placing bets if we kill it or not, and a lot of money was distributed. Healing here. Okay, so this is kind of a weird healing profile. So the way this works is like every 2 seconds or so, there's a big hit of damage. So it's not consistent and it's very, very bouncy. It's depending on what your healing comp looks like. So what I did is I had a mental timer, or sometimes even out loud while I was progging, of like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, boom. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, boom, boom. Just like, I'll back up so you can see it. So you can see the pattern of the health bars. So if you can wait just a second and then time it so that you're putting your Sanctifies and Halos down right as soon as the damage happens, that's ideal. So it was a little early on that Halo there, but that'll just help you with your overheals. Okay, and then right here, I would love to have taken more advantage of that Apotheosis, but this is the time when I symbol. And if I don't do it right now, I was usually late for positioning. So right after that damage phase, symbol, and then looking to get my palms going and stuff like that. This is usually where I goblin jumped, just to get a head start. I didn't need it really later. Here is a nice moment for your Holy Novas and stuff like that, and your Sanctifies while the raid is fairly stacked up right before that falling star hits. And then dispels. So the positioning here is weird. It's different from phase 1. So 1 is actually in this, if you're facing the boss, in this second to the left, again, looking at the boss, this second to the left position. 1 is here, and then I don't know where 2, 3, and 4 are, but 1 is here for this entire phase. So run here. Here we run back through, get the dispel, and here I'm planning to stack, and I'm thinking already about my seedling. The roots are about to come out. This is where I Desperate Prayer. I do it early so that I have a little bit more wiggle room for the next time I need it, because I know it'll last for the moment that I need it. Here we're doing seedling healing. And seeds, this is the big nerf. This is what probably made the fight so much easier than before. Previously, you could only soak 1 seed, and you only had about 5 seconds to do it. And even before the nerf with that, with the Race to World First, it was 3 seconds. But now, after the nerf, you can just pop a defensive and run through everything. I did not. Because you have to be in position here very quickly. So right here after my seed, so here's the root, and I'm doing seedling healing, spamming all my single target stuff on it. Not Guardian Spiriting, so it's not worth spamming flash heals with the way that I was doing it on it. I was just using my Serenities, and once it's full health, moving on. Here I got a spatial paradox from our evoker. Side note, I realized afterwards that I had a second weak aura enabled. That's why I have all this junk on my screen. I just kind of, I've tunneled on the kill. I learned to visually ignore it, but so I apologize how cluttered my screen is. Here I was getting a spatial paradox so that I could divine him during all this big damage while grabbing my seed. And the two priests were assigned to grab very close seeds or even melee seeds. It's really important for progression to be consistent with your movement. So I was always getting the very first seed that I could get right about here, like the first visible seed off of the boss. So here I'm casting Divine Him, going and grabbing a seed, somebody else grabbed it, and now I'm getting into position, and you can see I barely had enough time for that to be there before the Dispel. So you really don't have time to be a hero and run around and grab more seeds. Just let your faster classes do it. So here, the first Dispel, again, in this second to the left portion, usually tucked in this little fire area right here. And then moving back up through, getting that Dispel. Trying to take advantage of this Apotheosis. So this moment right here, after this second Dispel, this is a really tricky combo. This is Falling Star into Roots. So this Falling Star hurts quite a bit. This is a nice moment for a Holy Nova because the raid is usually stacked up again under the boss. So right here, what I'm trying to do is I usually cast a Halo. I think I'd used it previously, and then Holy Nova and stuff. And then I'm already in my soak location for the seeds. That's usually where I was standing. So I've got one here. And then this is where we were assigned freedoms. We were actually receiving them from the hunters for this specific set. But both priests are getting freedoms, and our job is to get quickly back here for the dispels. So we're not stacking with the rest of the raid. And this is also when I would Guardian Spirit myself, because the motion through the middle of the boss and all that, like, it's just a little dangerous. So try not to stack on my my priest partner here. Try not to do unnecessary damage. More dispels, moving back into melee, and we're back into roots and then seeds. So again, right here, this one's scary because I don't have Guardian Spirit or Desperate Prayer. So here I just have to pop Fade, and I didn't even do that. So fortunately, I didn't get cleaved there. Grabbing seeds, this is a big healing moment. So just looking to, use my Circle of Healing and stuff. I don't really have a cooldown assigned there. Trying to make sure that I get Halo cast before we mount up. And then on this set, this is where I recommend that you blow your I don't know the name of the spell, but the one that refunds Vigor. Because this is really tight. So here I was experimenting with using like spacebar to fly up, because it's supposed to be faster than actually dashing forward if you can do it right, but I ended up hitting an orb and losing all my vigor. So this was a little tight. So you can see here I land and I pop a bunch of stuff, and was worried about dying, but we were fine. This one seems to be a lot more difficult to heal than the first one, so this one you can't relax as much as the first one, and at least how we had our cooldowns assigned. And so next is going to be Falling Star into Roots. So here I'm looking, the reason I'm spamming Flash Heal is because I'm trying to get 2 charges, because I'm about to use Seedling for the Roots. So here just dodging and then getting into position for Roots. Using Desperate Prayer here, and Seedling healing, spamming Serenities and stuff, all my single targets. And then here, getting into position for the Dispel. The first Dispel is going to be here. This Phase 3 returns back to the Phase 1 Dispels, so from left to right. So I'm on the far left here. And what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to get seeds that are close to this location, because the Dispels happen like right after. So here's seeds. I look to grab this one, I think. Yeah, there really wasn't one to grab. So looking to be in position, regardless, dodging, and Dispel time. And it wasn't this set. The next set I'll talk about when we get there. Here again, getting into melee for some cleave healing before the falling stars, and next is going to be roots. So I want to make sure that I get back in there.
Gateway in 30.
So here's roots. And then here we're grabbing seeds, and this second dispel, this is where both of the priests receive freedom. So on the second set, we grab seeds on our way. It's more important that we get to our position. So what we're doing is priests are getting out here to the edge. We're getting freedom here so that we drop our treants out here and we're in position for the dispels, because the dispels happen right now. Like you have to be in position when those roots hit, otherwise you're going to be out of position for the dispel. So here we take the first dispel, and what we were noticing is the second dispel was having a hard time getting into position with all these roots and stuff like that. So we actually delayed the second dispel just a little bit. So here we dispel the first dispel, and then priests are supposed to run into melee and then take the gateway to go across. So that's what we're looking to do right now. Healing, dispelling 2. I'm watching to see when he gets into position. Whoever's moving, you don't have to actually look at nameplates and stuff like that. By this point in progression, when you're hitting phase 3, if you see somebody moving and standing where they're supposed to be, it's got to be 2, or it's somebody who's not doing what they're supposed to. So I can see right here them moving over and dispelling there. So here we all take the gateway, and the last, the 3 and 4 get dispelled. Dodge, dodge, dodge.
Group 1 feathers in a second, get ready. Dodging beams. Honk if you have it when it's safe. You have AoE here for these roots.
And that's really honestly the toughest parts of the fight. This part is not terrible. This is just roots and then running around and grabbing seeds after that. Dispels are coming out. This one's kind of YOLO. I was out of position, honestly. But at this point, we have a lot of room left. All the tough stuff is done. So we're moving. Fortunately, Gala was the one that had it, and she was assigned that dispel, so she could move and dispel it when it was a good time. If it was on me, it probably would have been a lot more scuffed. We just kind of got lucky there with my poor positioning. So here, doing the rest of the dispels.
Dispel 3.
Smoldering seedling in 30.
Everybody personal, health pot, health stem.
Desperate Prayer for this root set. Anytime it's up, just alternating between Desperate Prayer and Guardian Spirit to help survive this.
Dodging beams, dodging beams, dodging beams. Moving forward, all personals, everything that we're ignoring again. Res the DPS, res the DPS, res the DPS.
And at this point, he was calling to ignore the, we were ignoring the roots and ignoring the dispels and stuff like that. Like, he was low enough to where we could just stand and burn.
Come on.
Nightly blind, please. Safe.
Come on, boys. Stay in, don't kill each other. Put him down, put him down, dude. Come on. Come on.
That was so close, that beam, like, I should have honestly died to that beam that grazed the side of me, but so that's essentially it. The big things for progression honestly come down to knowing where you're supposed to be at all times, memorizing your dispel position, where you need to be for that, trying to find the balance between being too close in for the roots versus too far out so that you don't get broken, making sure that you time your defensives for that, and then getting good timings on your seedlings and stuff like that. Those are the biggest things I would say for progression. Now that the seeds and stuff are fixed and they're much easier. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. I love to check comments obsessively and respond to as many as I can. So if you have any questions and stuff like that, please don't hesitate, and I will do what I can to help you. So I hope you enjoyed, and good luck in your progression. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.